Hitler Youth for our research project. Hitler Youth refers to not just the people who were in the Hitler Youth program, but also it's called Hitler Jugend in German or something like that. It refers to all the young prisoners that were under the age of 18 that were held captive by Nazi prisoners. The goal of the Hitler Youth, for the whole reason it was created, was it was designed to train the generation of soldiers who believed that Germany was the ultimate country and the ultimate race and all that, and they wanted to rule the world. And they were pretty much brainwashed through Hitler Youth to do that.
Our objective was to see the effects of Hitler Youth on the war and the kids that were in the Hitler Youth. Yeah, we're gonna go there.
This is Robert's.
Noting of the events had happened in the years of mine, mean Hitler's reign. Am not Hitler's son, am Hitler himself. Mean his caretaker. Please do not kill me for my. Mean Hitler's past crimes.
It's in
Heil
German.
Hitler.
Alright, so it's in German? Yeah, what's the purpose of this? I don't remember it.
This is supposed to be like a modern day Hitler, and they're trying to prosecute him for his crimes, and he's trying to convince everybody that he's not Hitler, but he keeps messing up and saying that he is.
I didn't understand the German. Probably not. It's in German.
Okay.
Gotta keep it authentic.
For my genre, I wrote a little advice article about some of the commonly asked questions about Hitler Youth.
What's gonna happen to my parents if I refuse to join? What advice would you give me on this?
The first thing I'm going to say is, if you want your parents to stay safe and as happy as they can be, join the program. If you refuse to join, your parents may be labeled as traitors, maybe imprisoned, or worse.
If I'm not physically able to do the stuff that is required of me in the program, but want to be in it, what should I start doing now to prepare myself?
You need to start working out and conditioning yourself for the sort of stuff you will be susceptible to in the program, or you will get left behind. The stuff you will be doing is very physically demanding. I wish you luck in your preparation for the very difficult road ahead of you.
Is there a video game that you can refer me to in order to improve my killing ability and remorselessness?
And remorselessness.
There just so happens to be a very wonderful killing game called Call of Duty Black Ops 2, or any other first-person shooter that is very difficult.
Okay. My guy's in German too, so we're not playing. But I made my character from my book, who was a 17-year-old German boy that had I think they're called shortwave radios. Anyway, he could pick up other country radio stations. He was listening to the BBC, and during the Nazi regime, from 1920 to 1940 something, if you were listening to foreign radio stations, you were a traitor. They found it as propaganda, and they would arrest you for it. And what he was doing is he hated the Nazis. He despised the Nazis from when he was little. And his stepfather was a Nazi. But he would listen to the radio, and they put the news on pamphlets and pass them out around Germany. And when they found out it was him, they called it spreading enemy propaganda. They arrested him, and he was executed. That's pretty much it. The book, one of the most interesting things about the book is he's only 17. So that's kind of relatable. I mean, because we're all 16, some of us are 17. Imagine being arrested and put to death at the age of 17. Anyway, Hitler Youth. A side note, Hitler Youth wasn't always forced to join. A lot of them, from the time they were like 3, were told it was a really good thing to do, and they were all excited about it usually. There were a few that weren't then.
My book is in German too, so we really know what to do. So mine just kind of represents a guy in my book. He was in Hitler Youth. He finally turned 16 and he went to war. And he got injured during a battle and he had to dress up in disguise as a Russian so he wouldn't, die. And through the whole book he was trying to get to America and he finally does. And, yeah.
This is, that's the song that the Hitler Youth would That's the highlighted song that the Hitler Youth would sing. We have a link to it, and we can play it.
It's here.
Yeah, cool. It's in German, so I mean, there's English. It's in German. There's English subtitles though. Well, we can also go ahead. I'm gonna wait. I'm listening.
You gotta click that little box.
Ah, yeah.
You gotta get it loaded first.
Atta boy.
I hear you, Blake. Sing. It's the same thing over and over again. It's pretty much a chant. It's kind of the same thing over and over and over and over. So you can close that. Get back to the wiki, whatever. That's not the wiki, Robert. Neither is that. That's still not the wiki. You gotta close it.
No, you don't know.
Was it?
Keep hitting the back button.
Whatever. Figure it out.
There it is.
Alright,
Robert,
I was doing.
you didn't talk about your book.
Anyway, the point of still I do that song was.
I don't know. It disappeared.
The point of that song was because it was made in Hitler Youth to like they were going to go to war and they didn't want their kids to be scared, so they had to amp them up for war. They just made them love Hitler and stuff like that.
So, the way that the youth of Germany understood it is Hitler's Youth was kind of like Boy Scouts for us. So they were all just excited to get into it and
Yeah.
basically wanted to go be kids.
Around 1929, I want to say, if I remember that correctly, it became required. That's about when Hitler came to power. That you join at the age of 14, but if you joined earlier, you got like special privileges. You were treated better, and they were taken and forced to join at 14, and they'd go to training for 2 years, and they'd go off to war. So many of them died that they stopped having to make uniforms, and they just take the dead guys' uniforms and give them to new recruits.
Nice.
Yeah. Guess they were trying to save money. I don't know. But
Save money, not money.
yeah. They were put on trains and shipped out to war. Most of them were excited. That's pretty much Hitler Youth in a nutshell.
Okay, so I only saw one genre besides the both. Where are the other genres? What else did you do?
My book review is up there, and I don't know where his went.
A paragraph is a book review?
Yes. Well, you don't want to give away the whole book. Boom. Boom. See?
Okay, what books did you read?
I read The Boy Who Dared.
I read Soldier X.
And I read Codename Verity.
And tell me how Codename Verity helped you with this topic.
It showed that the prisoners of war were also considered the Hitler Youth, and how they were treated, the sort of things that they were put through.
They were considered Hitler's Youth because they pretty much were tortured by the Nazis. And they're more like the prisoners of Hitler Youth, but they're called Hitler Youth. It refers to, like I said, it refers to not just the program in general, but the whole generation of adolescents from the 1920s to 1940,
1922 to 45.
45. And that's why prisoners of wars are included, because prisoner of war. Wasn't she like younger than 18? first in the book.
So she was like 17.
Yeah. So.
Okay, may I have any questions?
Not everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Sign up.
Okay,
Damn.
next up,